If you commit the crime, be ready to do the time. In Yakuza 0, that time is about 50 hours of serious crime drama, interrupted by karaoke, disco dancing, and beating people unconscious with bicycles. This is the first game chronologically in Sega's legendary Yakuza series, a franchise that spans more than 10 titles and decades of storytelling. Yakuza 0 somehow balances one of gaming's best crime stories with some of the dumbest, funniest side content ever made, and neither part takes away from the other. At the heart of Yakuza 0 is a rock-solid narrative filled with crime, betrayal, and emotional weight. The writing is sharp, witty, and surprisingly heartfelt. Set in 1988, the game follows two protagonists, Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima, whose stories intertwine in ways that give the game far more depth than you would expect. The central conflict revolves around one tiny plot of land that the Japanese mafia is willing to kill for. Kiryu gets framed for murder. Majima is trapped in a brutal punishment loop, and the stakes escalate fast. Yakuza 0 often feels more like a prestige crime drama than a video game. Cutscenes regularly stretch past 10 minutes, especially in the first 10 hours, but they're worth it. The pacing builds a strong foundation, and I found myself invested in every character, every twist, every betrayal. The director's cut on Xbox Series X looks fantastic. The game absolutely nails facial acting. Characters communicate emotions through tiny expressions instead of exaggerated animations. Sometimes a simple detail, like a nose flare or cheek twitch, can add such believability. Some minor scenes look noticeably cheaper, with stiff mouth movement, but it never breaks immersion. The side quests are fantastic. I feel that Sega gave the writers much more freedom to create ridiculous comedic scenarios. It's risky, and there's enough cheese to gain Chester Cheetah's approval, but it pays off. The world is a dense recreation of downtown Japan. Neon signs flood every street, tiny alleys hide restaurants and shops, and even buildings you can't enter help sell the illusion. There's always something happening, making the city feel alive without relying on huge open spaces or vehicles. Fast travel is handled by taxis, letting you quickly hop between districts. One of my biggest issues was not being able to angle the camera upwards so that I could see the skyline. Turns out, the camera in this game is very stubborn. It knows what it wants you to look at, and when you try to rebel, you have to wrestle with it. Speaking of wrestling, let's talk about combat. On first glance, it looks like an arcade beat-em-up, but it's actually way deeper than that. You have light attacks, heavy attacks, dodges, throws, and a guard, but the real magic is the heat system. Build heat by fighting well, and you unlock brutal cinematic finishers that deal massive damage and often disarms enemies. Heat actions aren't just flashy finishers, they're rewards for recognizing opportunities. Knock an enemy down, catch them off guard with a weapon, slam them into a wall, or grab a nearby object, and the game responds with a brutal cinematic attack. Learning to create these openings become a huge part of mastering combat. Positioning matters. Enemies behind you can stun you instantly, and the game loves throwing 4 or more enemies at once. Blocking and dodging against enemies from behind also has limited effectiveness. Finding an opening where you can hit an enemy without exposing your back is trickier than it sounds, especially considering that your fists don't have a wide range of attack when it comes to hitting multiple enemies. Thankfully, the protagonists each have 3 unique fighting styles, and at least one of them is slightly better at fighting multiple enemies, but these styles also have drawbacks, including having slower movement and a weaker dodge and blocking. Weapons add another layer. Enemies later in the game carries bat, knives, and even guns, and you can't block bullets with your bare hands. Thankfully, you can carry your own weapon that you purchased off the store or stole off an enemy. These weapons usually have very low durability, but can be useful for hitting multiple enemies or blocking swords. Goro Majima's Slugger style has an advanced level upgrade that allows him to block bullets with a bat. Absolutely Jedi behavior. Environmental weapons like bike sofas and street signs add chaos and comedy. Kiryu's beast style practically encourages you to pick up anything that isn't nailed down. I got destroyed by the first boss because I didn't bring enough healing items and misunderstood Rush style. Kazama Kiryu's Rush style focuses on evasion and speed, but its light attack doesn't stun big enemies, and they get up too fast to trigger heat actions. It's a great style, but I was using it incorrectly. The combat system looks simple, but is surprisingly deep. Even after 45 hours, I was still discovering new strategies. In Yakuza 0, money is everything. It's your experience points, upgrade currency, shopping budget, and emergency resource all rolled into one. You can burn money to learn new skills, buy healing items, buy weapons, distract enemies, and more. You can open the menu to spend money and unlock new combat skills and upgrades. Some of the upgrades cost 1 billion yen. Yes, that's a billion with a capital B, and it's 1989 before current inflation. If I had 1 billion yen in real life, would I choose to upgrade my tax, or would I find some other use for the money? Well, it looks like Kiryu wants to use it to make himself a lean, mean fighting machine. Yakuza 0 is overflowing with minigames, karaoke, disco dancing, bowling, fishing, baseball, mahjong, shogi, arcade classics, crane games, and more. Some of these are full games on their own. Rather than explaining all the minigames, let's just focus on one, the Cabaret Club Simulator. This minigame has its own complete story with dozens of cutscenes. It's like a game within a game. I spent a whopping 5 hours on this minigame, and it was completely worth it because it gave tens of billions in cash, unlocks the skill trees, and a whole new combat style. The plot for this Cabaret Club minigame is that the 5 top cabaret clubs in the area are purposefully forming a monopoly and criminally driving out the other clubs. The last club that is resisting them is a small club called Club Sunshine, and they are practically on their last legs. Majima helps the club out of the brink of closing into becoming a powerhouse capable of toppling the 5 top clubs. This minigame has you play the role as the manager of the club. You greet customers, assign girls to tables, handle trouble, and handle delivery of ice refills, menus, and other items. When a customer walks in, you can tell if they're poor, average, wealthy, or ultra-rich, and also their preferences. The richer the person, the more demanding they are. It's up to you which girl you want to assign based on their demands and preference. Eventually, each club will challenge you into a profit-making competition where the winner takes all. During the duel, the club will use dirty tactics to hinder your progress, including stealing customers, making your girls tired, and lowering your girls' performance. Fortunately, Goro Majima has a trick of his own, Sunshine Fever, which drives any customer into a spending frenzy and also recovers the girl's HP. You need to recruit women to work in your club. You can walk the streets and talk to strangers. Others would come from completing side quests or visiting the temple. It's surprisingly deep, and this is just one minigame out of dozens. I'm not exaggerating when I say you can spend 100 hours just on side content. Yakuza 0 shouldn't work. It's a serious crime drama that constantly interrupts itself with absurd comedy, dozens of side activities, and one of the strangest collections of minigames ever put into an RPG. Yet somehow, every piece fits together perfectly. By the time the credits rolled, I wasn't just excited to play the next Yakuza game, I wanted to experience the entire series. Dadozy Gaming gives Yakuza 0 Director Cut for the Xbox Series X a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming!